What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So I don't even really know how to even make this video. Usually I'll make a breakdown on how to beat legendary missions, but this is just one of those legendary missions that I can't even tell you if it's worth playing at the moment. Title update, whatever it is, has been really interesting because there's just been so much going on around the game itself. Now, you guys know I try my best to give grace to developers. Their work is very hard. If you're working on a game, you're facing all kinds of different constraints. And so this is just something where, you just want to be, in a sense, patient with giving criticisms, or at least waiting a little bit, because a game like Division, they usually patch a lot of things. It's terrible that this is the standard that we have, but it is what it is. But this particular legendary over here at the Manning National Zoo has really piqued my interest in a sense. Now, you've played the other legendaries, you've played and dealt with the bosses, you've dealt with the way those legendaries are designed. And so I guess maybe we're preliminary or in the preliminary phases of playing these legendary missions, these new ones, that everything feels a little weird. Now, of all of the different things that you could actually, pay attention to or uncover or deal with as you're actually, playing through this legendary, nothing is more harrowing, frustrating, disappointing, and in essence, keeping you feeling like you've wasted your time than these two bosses at the end of this particular mission, Manning National Zoo Legendary Mission. Now, why is this the case? Well, first of all, their boss design, I don't know, maybe ideas were something that they just ran out of and decided to give us two tanks with deflector shields and blinders, similar to some of the bosses that you see in Warlords of New York from what's the name of the faction? The Rikers faction. Now, those ones, I don't think they have deflector shields, or maybe if they do, I can't remember. But these bosses have so much health, and I guess this is supposed to maybe be a way to deter, you from just simply steamrolling the mission or something. Or maybe this is based on testing. After somebody had played and played and played and honed it down, this is probably the sweet spot. But I just want to say that it didn't feel like the sweet spot. It felt like some kind of a chore. I understand that the developers want to keep people playing, and I probably understand that maybe somebody is going to say, well, when there was no content, people complained that there was no content, now there's content. People are complaining that this is the case, but when you compare it to other legendary missions, even within the first few days, those legendary missions already gave a reality on how we were going to be playing them. There were already 30-minute runs, group runs, less than an hour group runs. But now, even with competent groups, maxed out builds, and even with the proficiency levels high, it still seems like these legendary missions seem to be tuned sort of weird. Now, I say this and start from the boss because I'm sure somebody might say, well, you can always use a really good build. And shout out to the LCN clan. We have some really solid Division players. Red is in this particular video, and at some point, once we dealt with these bad guys, he just swapped to a really powerful build and just, basically nuked them and cleaned them out. I mean, in like no time, the time from the 2 hour and 40-minute mark to the 2 hour and 45-minute mark, he was able to pretty much just disappear their health using one of his builds. I don't think that's necessarily all that is. If you find competent players, come up with competent builds, you're going to see that there is a way to quickly knock out the health of these baddies. I'm probably going to share it in a video, but I'll let him do that one because it's kind of his idea in a sense, and I'm sure maybe other people are already implementing it now. So not really a big deal if you were to ask me. But here's also another thing. There are some issues with the tuning on both legendaries. I played them on the PTS, and I could tell you that the tuning was kind of weird. Now, the tuning is cheap because the AI is already good. Don't get me wrong. I've always admired the way that they pulled out this AI for the legendary missions. I've always enjoyed that they are different. They have different behavior patterns. So they were already good, in my opinion. Now, not perfect because they did some kind of bogus crap that made you go, what? But in these two legendary missions, I was making a joke calling them health legendary missions because these enemy NPCs will heal and heal and heal and heal and heal and heal and heal, that it almost forces you to pick one specific playstyle that I don't know, maybe they're doing this to somehow provide some I don't know, variety in the way we play, but it becomes ridiculous when they use not only healing by, say, healer classes of the enemy, but healers by drones, and then they will res a huge threat right in front of you in order for you to wipe. The reason all of this is tilted all over the place is, honestly, Manning National Zoo, I don't think was developed to be a legendary mission or with a legendary mission in mind. In fact, I don't even know what they thought when they were making the legendary missions. Maybe it was because usually you plan your DLCs, before your game releases. And here is the biggest problem here, folks. It's not even really the developers. It's guys like me that was actually saying, man, it would be nice for them to give us our legendary missions that, are left over. I was excited about it, if you get what I mean. So I guess I have maybe some responsibility in this whole thing, because the request could probably have been put in a different way if we had considered the scale and the size of this mission, and the developers in their bid to try to maybe provide something that we've been requesting. It seems like right now we're in a really interesting place. So I guess concessions probably have to be made. Now, the question you might be asking is, what could be done? How could the developers, in a sense, make this legendary mode work out for everyone? I think they probably need to go ahead and do a little bit of enemy NPC tuning. This is not something that's a big deal. Just a small touch here, small touch there with the amount of healers that they spawn, or at least their behavior. And I think you're going to have yourself a well-balanced legendary mission in what I believe is the biggest of the strongholds available. I don't know. All of them are kind of big, and they have their own weird, big size thing going on with them. But a zoo in itself is just a massive landmass. I don't think you have any of the bases or any of the different, strongholds that are as big as this. In fact, some of the strongholds will fit into some of the arenas in this Manning, zoo area here. And so I think this is probably what the solution would be overall. If not, we cannot call this content. And I know there's probably so many constraints going on, but if there's any YouTuber or if there's any content creator or division agent that's been, in my opinion, very patient and very understanding with Massive, it's myself and, most of us that are still left here doing content. We really want to see this franchise continue. So I strongly believe that this is a place and a pain point the developers need to take a look at. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If you have any constructive criticism, leave it in the comment section. If you have any tongue lashing, by all means, drop it in the comment section, because they read and they see these things. I'd love to continue the conversation later on. Hopefully, I'll bring some good tidbits surrounding the legendary missions, and you might be surprised as to exactly what it is that they are. And hopefully, we'll talk pretty soon. Peace out.